Feel incredible!
It's not a cartoon, it's anime!
That's how you do it. That was a good one. That was a good one, y'all. That was a good one.
That was a little rough on the chords, like you were saying, Brennan. I had to get the sip of water after that.
You didn't got a sip of water, Rob?
That was sick.
Welcome to another episode of AnimeSHUN. The squad is back. I'm in a good mood, man. It's hot as shit in my room, but I'm in a good mood. Brennan's here, Rob's here, Ice here.
Yep.
You know what we do? We review anime. We review a whole season of anime, man. That's what we do out here in these streets. We have one-off. We have debates. We watch movies and talk about the movies. We do all types of stuff on here, man.
And everything gets rated. Everything gets rated out of 9,000.
Everything gets rated out of a 9,000.
I'm really with Keenan. I'm gonna keep it real. I'm really with Keenan's energy right now. I like this.
Yeah. He's good. It's keeping it up. I
like this.
I felt good today. We're reviewing Iron Blooded Orphans. We're finishing up the first season.
Yep.
Yeah, man.
Hold real quick.
Oh, God. We could have just got into it. Rob, why did you just go, Rob?
I think we have to. We have to at this point.
Exactly. Like, even if Rob would have gotten into it, I would have stopped him anyway, because this is the greatest fucking anime podcast in the entire world.
You know what makes out of it at this point.
You know what makes it funny is that Brennan hates it so much, or is annoyed by it, whatever you want to say, right? And that's what's gonna make Ice. Ice is one of those guys.
Yeah,
when he knows he annoys you, he's going to annoy you.
No, not necessarily.
So I could, your actions speak
that's
louder.
That's more Brennan than anybody. I would have did it whether Brennan liked it or not. I was gonna keep doing it. Because you didn't like it for a while, and you just like.
And I would have stopped it if I really didn't like it. So I would have deaded it. But it didn't really bother me like that.
I will not deny that I enjoy getting on people's nerves on certain people.
I know Brennan gets on people's nerves too.
That's way more Brennan than me.
Well, I say you do it too. But I definitely know it's Brennan's thing too. But we're going to finish up season 1, Iron Blooded Orphans, man. Episodes 21 through 25. Man, shit
turned up.
Shit went down, Brennan. I personally want to say that, man, these 5 episodes held you down because it wasn't looking necessarily the best.
All I gotta say, we'll get through it, but I'll say season 2 goes way harder than season 1. But I thought I
wanted to start season 2. Yeah. But Rob, you want to kick us off? Episode 21?
Yeah, so the last episode we left off on, kind of a cliffhanger. Tekadon thought they had found some safe haven with the Oceania group. This guy, Makanai, an outcast from one of the other, provinces, the Arabu province, or I'm probably mispronouncing that, Arbrow part of the world. He's been keeping him in because they promised to bring him back to Arbrow, where he's been exiled, to get him elected as the new prime minister and kind of help him out. But as they're making their plans to leave for Arbrow, they get attacked in the middle of the night, and Makanai gives them a call. Like, it's just like, hey, Orga, I told you we could protect you here. Turns out we can't. Galahorn is coming in. Somebody with some big pull called your name specifically, and they're showing up. And it's Karta, the Commander Issue, who they've run into, is in charge of the Earth orbit command, and they went past her and personally offended her, so she's on her way in. And Tekadon's doing all they can to get ready. There's a little bit of some interpersonal strife at this point. Biscuit, not necessarily his Orga's right-hand man, but maybe his left-hand man, the guy he counts on to support him. He and Orga are having issues right now, and he just told Orga, I'm about to walk away from all this, and he's contemplating whether he's going to do this on the beach when, what's his face, Mikazuki shows up, and it's just like, hey, we're under attack. Like, it's time to go. Orga needs you. And Biscuit's like, shit. Like, oh, okay, he still needs me. Like, I'm kind of surprised. And he tells Mikazuki that he almost walked away from Tekadon. He's like, well, we need you now. And so it's all hands on deck at this point, because Galahorn's showing up, and they don't care whether you quit yesterday or what your standing is with the club. They're coming for everybody.
I think Biscuit too was a little bit of like, yeah, but a little bit of fear too. He ain't fucking with Mikazuki. Mikazuki says, "Get your big ass over here. We gotta get some work done." He would have got his ass up and be like, "Well, I quit. You didn't quit. Get your fat ass over here and start the fighting. Or whatever you gotta do." He's
not the one to disagree with. Like, if I knew somebody
that's just real.
If I knew Mika in real life, like either if I'm on his team, then I'm not arguing with them. If I'm against that man, then I'm probably not going to fight. Like, I'm just going to be like, hey, like...
I'll fight him for sure. I'll definitely fight Mikazuki. But I'm not saying necessarily...
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? You're not going to hold me out, bro. Like, I don't give a damn how cold you are. You're not going to hold me out.
But here's the thing.
He's going to kill you.
Well, that's what I'm going to say. I was going to say, like, my thing is like, I'm going to weigh my options. And if he's like, yo, we got to fight, I know he's a murderer. Not a killer. He's a murderer.
He is one of the worst. He is one of the coldest protagonists when it comes to killing people in any anime I've seen, where it's just like zero emotion about, like, you're dead. Like,
I was going to talk about that like towards the end, but yeah, I would have to agree with that.
For sure.
Keegan always manages to call Biscuit fat in every episode.
Did I have?
Yes.
Pretty consistently. It gets brought up.
I don't think I've called him fat. I probably stated his weight because I said they call him
fat ass. You say your fat ass every time.
It gets called out a lot on the show in general when they're just like, shut your ass up or else we're gonna like cut a slice of bacon off of you or something like that, or like you know, like they call this dude out a lot. Biscuit catches a lot of abuse for what a solid dude he is.
Exactly.
His name is Biscuit.
It's Biscuit.
Yeah.
He's built like what I'm just saying. At the end of the day, I just say what they say they said. I don't necessarily call him fat for myself.
Right.
No.
Get your fat ass out of here.
So Tekadon, they're making their preparations for when Galahorn's going to land. And Orga and Biscuit have another moment, like kind of just the two of them, and they're just like, listen, we got to talk about what we're going to do with the future of Tekadon. We're in this together, but we're going to talk about this at a later date. We're going to once this is all settled with Galahorn, once we get away from this, we can figure out what we're going to do next. And the day of the attack arrives. They've got some of the kids, like you see them planting like explosives around. They've got their plan. They're holed up on the island and defending it as best they can. And the Galahorn ships are like naval ships are coming in and just shelling the island, very similar to how they attacked the CGS base when this all showed up. Mm-hmm. Once again, just wasting their ammo. They've got some of the turbines out on the beach with Akihiro defending the beach, and the naval guns are doing nothing against these suits, and they're just like these rich people that just like waste their ammo or whatever. Yeah. They're not doing any damage against us. They're just holding it down, and then Akihiro just starts shooting back at him with like this giant sniper rifle he has, just absolutely ridiculous.
Well, he missed the first shot, and then there's like, yo, you need to feel that shit. Don't aim it, feel it.
Yeah, feel it from your
heart. And then he felt it.
He did feel it. He wings him a couple times, and those ships start taking on water. But Galahorn's got a few tricks up their sleeves too. One of the surprises that Tekadon didn't expect is that they literally start just kind of like Mikazuki had surfed that one dude's dead body down to the surface. Like they've got these shields that they're riding like surfboards down onto the island, dropping down on top of them.
Yeah,
that was pretty cool
from up top. Yeah.
Yeah, they're coming down from the sky, and it's like they've got a bunch of these Greys suits that we've seen Galahorn, using throughout. I was kind of surprised we didn't see Karta. She's also in one of these Greys outfits. I was kind of surprised she didn't have a Gundam suit of her own at this point. You know what I mean? Because like Galea's got one. She's apparently the daughter of like one of the biggest, most richest families of the Seven Stars, right? Yeah. And they don't have their own. I was a little surprised by that.
She got a cape though.
She did have a cape on her outfit.
But she ain't saved nobody.
No.
Nobody.
No. So they get the mobile suits land on the island, and there's some skirmishes going on the beaches. But the main fight is kind of happening on like the landing pad. Where Orga is giving out some of the orders, and Karta lands with her retinue of soldiers, her like main dudes that all look like McGillis, and
they all do look like. I didn't even think about that. All her staff looks just like McGillis.
She's just surrounded herself with a bunch of simps that look like McGillis.
Wow.
They were talking about my lady and all that, and
never even thought about that. That's fucking crazy.
They're lining up in formation, and they're doing their whole like Team Rocket Ginyu Force like posing thing, and Mikazuki's like not waiting on it. He's
Akihiro
did. Oh, is Akihiro?
I thought that was dope. That he was just like,
I want that to happen Tell me that y'all don't want that to happen in every anime you watch. Like, Ginyu
yeah,
Force
of
joins
course.
up, people run up and they're like,
Everybody
oh, we gotta do our poses, whatever. My man was just like, this is a war. Like, y'all can pose, I'm gonna still attack you.
I remember
we ain't
there
got
was a
time for this
meme
shit.
like that about the Power Rangers, like what the putties see when the Power Rangers are powering up, and they just like,
Yeah.
"Bro, what are y'all on? Like, we're just supposed to hear y'all call all these Mastodon, Pterodactyl, like, get the fuck out of here."
Yeah, no, they start taking care of her companions really quick.
Easy work.
Elsewhere
Yo,
on the island,
They were
Orga's-
trash.
They were bad.
Yeah.
But elsewhere on the island, they did set a trap because obviously Gallahorn is here for Kudelia and Makanai. These are the political prisoners they're trying to capture. And Tekadon figured that's what they tried to do and played it pretty smart. They made it look like they left the back of the island undefended. And so when Gallahorn sends in like landing troops to take that shit, they're all of a sudden finding out that these shacks that they thought the high level prisoners would be locked up in are totally empty. And as they start coming back over the bridge to get off of it, all the explosives that they had been planting earlier, Orga setting them all off, and like they're all just falling into the ocean and getting gunned down. And even Makanai is just like, okay, like these kids can fight. Like, like these are a bunch of kids, but they are handling Gallahorn right now.
I mean,
and they're
at
fighting
this point,
fearlessly.
you can't even look at them like children. They've literally handled everybody that's been put in front of them.
Yeah.
The only
You have
people,
to-
the only people that they had a tie. Well, did they have a tie with the turbines? Because they would have lost. They would have lost Mika and Akihiro to the turbines, but taken the bridge of the ship. So it's like it would have been like a stalemate, kind of. You know?
Yeah, that's the only person only group of people that kind of leveled out with them.
Yeah,
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, I these gray suits, I mean, maybe it's just the AVS system or the AVS that the kids all have, that there's no suit that Gallahorn's been able to put out that hasn't just been absolutely mowed down by Tekadon. And it's the same thing happening right here, is that it's just Karta by herself soon enough, and Mikazuki is about to take her out when she sees Orga giving the commands, being piloted in one of the mobile workers by Biscuit, and she's just like, well, there's their leader. Let me go after him. And some of her last, cohorts are able to hold Mikazuki back while she charges after them. And Biscuit is like, takes some evasive maneuvers, and he's like swerving, just trying to like do a serpentine pattern, get out of the way. And he's just like, she's going to catch up to us. This is a giant, robot suit. So he takes a hard swerve, tells Orga to let go, and Orga gets like flown free from the wreckage. But the mobile worker that Biscuit's in, it just gets annihilated.
Man. Yo, was this so? Brandon, was this your emotional moment?
No,
That you said you had.
I don't think it wasn't emotional for me either, because just like we saw, who was it? Akihiro's brother coming. Like I saw Biscuit. They put too much in the Biscuit. Like prior to and in this episode, like
In the Biscuit.
you knew he was gonna die.
He said they put too much in the biscuit.
Yeah.
So
like,
what kind of biscuit is he, man? Is he Popeyes? Is he cheddar bacon?
No,
Is
he ain't dry. I mean, I guess he is a Popeyes biscuit because like you eat them, but
He's
then
soft.
you gotta pay for it though. Like she ate them, but she had to pay for it later. Like So I guess he's a Popeyes biscuit.
She
He's
did.
soft. He's pretty soft too. I was asking Brennan because I know Brennan said he said it was a part where I think he might have got emotional or he cried during this anime.
Yeah.
And I was wondering, was it this? Because I don't know if there's any other part.
It's season 2.
And
but at the same
okay.
time, no, but I'll get to there is one part of this season that did get me emotional, even watching it again. So there's 2 parts actually.
The same part.
It's the first part I already told you guys about in an earlier episode is when my man's got the kids. Remember when the kids, Akihiro's brothers, friends, murdered the guy, and then he was kneeling next to the the bags, and like apologizing to their bodies. Like that hit me really hard. As a student of leadership, I want to be a person in that kind of a position, not obviously in a position to cry over bodies of my comrades, but to be in a position to be making decisions for our groups of people or the objectives of an organization. And you also have to take the consequences of that. And so for me, that hits really hard of saying like, yo, this man takes it to heart, and I would too.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even think we talked about this, but this is part of the last stretch of episodes. That guy Shino, who kind of has become a bigger of a character because now he pilots Crank's old gray suit. He talks about when he takes that suit, I don't really want to be in charge of all those people. because of that experience. He's like, that's too much.
Right.
If it's just me like that I got to look out for, then that's fine. Like if I die because of the decisions I made, then whatever. But the mistakes you make and then it costing the lives of other, that's a heavy burden for anybody to take on, you know?
Yeah, especially when they have families. That's the worst part. It's like, that's where I think it hits the hardest when you're like, if you got to go to somebody's family, like, hey man, I'm sorry they didn't make it. They trusted you also with that person's life.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Which they kind of touch on a little bit later.
Yeah, and they touch on that. Yeah, because now that the smoke is clearing, Mikazuki's able to get Karta away. Karta makes her escape. And Orga's walking over to the wreckage and sees Biscuit, still just kind of lying there half out of the machine and still kind of clinging onto life. And it's a sad scene.
Yes, it is sad.
I think Ice is right. They broadcasted this from a mile away, but it's still sad to see him go like, oh man, this isn't where I wanted to die. Like this isn't where I thought this would end. And that he still has so much left to do.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie, man. The comedian in me laughed with his stomach out. Like when his stomach was just hanging out like that. I was just like, man, let this motherfucker pull his shirt down, dog. Don't let him die like this.
Don't die like this, man. One thing I did want to say that I've noticed, Mika, his weapon, not the sword, but that big weapon, that shit is garbage.
With that big, like, kind of like wrench?
That shit is garbage. That's probably one of the worst weapons I've ever seen a protagonist have. Like,
it's weird.
It is trash.
Yeah. I mean, he's done work with it, but I'm not a fan of it. I'm not a fan of it.
I see when it opened up and all that other stuff, but I'm like, wow, this is as merciless and as like cold-blooded as he is, he doesn't deserve a trash weapon like that. Like, that looks like he picked up some scrap metal and was just like, oh, let me fight with this. He kind of did,
right? He kind of picked that up and was just like, all right, I'm going to just use this. It wasn't like a weapon it wasn't a weapon that was given to him. He was like, he picked it up.
But he just kept, but he been rocking with it like it's cold, and it's like, bro, this ain't it, fam.
I mean, look, let's clarify, Ice. It's not in general a cold weapon, but he is cold with that weapon. You know what I'm saying? Like, how many people died because of that thing?
But it's like he just knocked somebody up the head with it. Like
I'm just saying, walk, speak softly, carry a big stick. That's his stick.
That's a trash ass stick.
Well, I would not want to have any parts of fighting against that stick. I don't know about y'all.
I mean, his sword, I like his sword better. His sword, I can rock with that. But that big old, like, come on, fam. That ruined his whole aesthetic.
But he's had a couple different weapons because he's also had that big spear, with the thing that shoots through. That was a pretty cool weapon too.
Dope. Yeah. He didn't have his big gun anymore, huh?
He hasn't had the gun in a while.
What they do is they build out the Gundams to each different type of battle. So when I went from space to Earth, they have to build it out a different way from when it's mid-orbit to upper orbit, long-range fights, mid-range, melee. So they build out what his weaponry is for each particular battle. So he still has all those weapons, but it's just like, the spear was meant as a space weapon. You know what I'm saying? It's like, for some reason, I'm assuming this, I don't really know, but I'm saying to me, it seems like that spear was only used in space. And then it's like, all right, now we come down to the ground. Like, I'm gonna pick up this heavy shit and hit people with it. Because weight matters now. Whereas before it didn't, unless you had that hammer, obviously. But the hammer had rockets on it, so.
Yeah.
I guess there's that. Yeah, we haven't seen that hammer in a while. But the episode comes to a conclusion, with Orga, reaching out to Biscuit, and he dies before he can give his last message to Orga, and the episode itself ends with Orga screaming as it starts to rain.
His scream was like, I know y'all watching the sub, but I personally think I watched a little bit of both, and I think that this dub is actually fairly good, at least with the main people's voices. Yeah, Orga's voice was like that. Yeah, I felt that shit.
Yeah, the dub is good. I caught one of the episodes in dub, and it was all right.
Yeah. That's what's up.
Yeah, it's not that bad.
Yeah, I mean I had when my cousin lives with me, and he walked by. When I was watching that part, when Orga screamed, he's like, "Yo, what the hell? What is this?" Kind of thing. He's like, "Yo, did somebody are you watching somebody get killed or something?" I'm like, "Kinda, yeah, actually, yeah." And it's just it just gives me that respect for these voice actors, man, because that is a real anguished yell. Whoever that voice actor is has been through some shit.
And it sounded good in sub also.
Yeah, it sounded great. I mean, I shouldn't say great. It sounded horrible, but that's what it's supposed to sound like.
Yeah.
It was like almost Thorfinn level.
Yeah,
definitely up there.
I still Thorfinn still takes the cake though.
Yeah,
that Thorfinn scream, you felt that in your soul
for sure.
You feel like somebody killed you, like your daddy, like hold up.
So the next episode picks up right after that. You know, we even see that scream take place again as everybody's kind of like just hearing that news for the first time. And, you know, they even show Atra and Kudelia on the beach, you know, kind of falling to their knees just in disbelief as everybody's getting the word that Biscuit is down. And it's sad, you know, they pick back up where everybody's around his body bag and his hat's on top of the bag, you know, his signature hat. And
They had to put the fucking hat on there. That's what got me. I was just like, all right, man.
I feel like the aftermath of the deaths are always harder than the actual death itself.
Thank you,
I
Ice.
agree.
So Ice, I think you are on the same page for the first time ever. That's actually that. We'll get to the part. But there's one particular part in the aftermath of Biscuit's death that I was like, okay.
I think we're gonna talk about the same. You talking about with the train?
Yeah. That scene right there. I was just
that shit. I got hyped. Like I was like, let's go.
I was like, oh.
Hyped.
Right. I was like, for Orga, but go ahead, Rob. Let's get there.
So meanwhile, so they're all crowding around Biscuit's body bag and just sort of like, you know, shit, you know, where do we go from here? Like, you know, he was everybody's friend. He was the kind of the heart of the team. You know, he was the cook originally, you know, so everybody likes this guy. Everybody's got a connection to him. He's one of the few members that had a family. And even Takaki, who, you know, they talked about, you know, sending their siblings to school, you know, together. It's hitting everybody hard, but it seems to hit Orga hardest of all. You know, he's just holed up in his room, you know, with the door closed, not really talking to anybody, not really seeing anybody, just sort of processing everything that he went through. And meanwhile, you've got Karta having to answer for her defeat. Like, this is a bad look for her.
Such a bad look.
We've seen Gjallarhorn, you know, they don't look down kindly on failure, especially when it comes to losing against like a bunch of kids.
Yeah.
And
I feel like they should have learned by now, though. It's like, yo, you can't underestimate these guys. Like, they're so good.
Right. Don't hold back at this point. Right. And McGillis' dad is giving her Karta kind of the riot act. Like, you're gonna fucking fix this shit. Like,
he didn't even want to do it. He was like, man, you're out of here if it was up to me. But you know,
yeah. McGillis wants you to do this. Like, he's going to help you out.
Yeah.
So, you know, she doesn't really know what to do. She's reeling from this. She feels bad because, you know, obviously this makes her look bad. He's like, oh, I'm taking care of you because your dad's sick. Like, it's bad. McGillis, meanwhile, is elsewhere and is talking with Galeo, who's still outside Ein's room. And he's just like, hey, you know, have you thought any more of giving this guy the AVS? Like, it's probably the only thing that's going to save his life. And he's still kind of holding back. You know, we're hearing more about the Calamity War. It's not more this, like, it's not natural stuff. And he's like, here, I want to show you something. And we get a little bit more history about Gjallarhorn, just that, you know, hey, they used this AVS system to end the Calamity War. You know, it was this kind of nuclear option that they were able to go to that just was so much more powerful than what anybody else was doing that it finally stopped the war. But it did come at the cost of you're not going to be quite human anymore. Like, you become merged with the suit itself. And what the kids have in Tekadon are really only like kind of a smaller pared down version of that. But he said those people came on to become like the seven families. And the only reason, as we know from before, the only reason they don't want more people doing this is they don't want people using their own weapon against them. So they made it look bad. And he's like, so like, and then he could pilot one of these things, and he takes him and shows him this huge fucking Gundam. And he's just like, if we could put him in there, he can finally get revenge that he's been looking for. And isn't that what you really are trying to do for him out here?
Wait, what are you guys doing in this case? Like, if this is life, right? Are you guys taking that full on dive, or are you doing the Mikazuki route?
Mika, what are you talking about?
Yeah,
I mean, some people might be like, "Yo, fuck it, I'm all the way in. This is the lifestyle that we live."
I can still fight and defeat pretty much everybody I meet with it. Honestly, if it was up to me, I'd like, let me read a manual and learn how to not have back surgery so that I can fly a Gundam. Like I'm like, yo, I'm gonna be the supporting sniper or something like that. I don't want to be doing that melee combat with that alive Vinya system.
I feel like
you
Mika
did first, Brennan.
What'd you say?
You did first.
Probably. I mean, no, I'll be dead last.
A sniper with those fucking Gundams. Let me just be a sniper out here. Let me just You're gonna die by. You're not even die honorably. You're gonna die by debris.
I probably wouldn't be a Gundam pilot. Let's just keep it real. I would be more. I fall more towards. I think I fall more towards Orga if anybody else in this show.
I feel like it'd be more Biscuit.
Or Biscuit. I can take that.
Yeah.
Biscuit. No, I think if Mika would have had the opportunity, he would have took that suit too. I think he just was in the suit that he was in just because that's all that was offered to him. But if he would have had it's like, oh shit, more power, I can kill more people. Fuck it. Like,
wait.
I think he would too, probably. Yeah.
Keenan, why Biscuit over Orga? I'm just curious.
I just feel like I don't know. I feel like you'll just be Biscuit, Biscuit or Orga. It's not necessarily like a.
They're very different. Like Biscuit is.
They are, but I feel like there's similarities. I feel like you have traits of both.
I feel like you got the rationale of Biscuit in the sense that you'd be like, I don't know about this shit. Like I feel like
I feel like you'll make. Yeah, I feel like sometimes Orga doesn't mess. He goes more off here, his heart. Let's just fucking do it then. He's very emotional with some of his picks, whereas I don't see you very emotional with a lot of stuff. For you, like, I understand we're angry here, but let's wait this out for a second.
Yeah, I see you.
Yeah, I agree with Ice on that one.
Good answer.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, I saved me on that one. I was like, oh shit, I got something I know I do. Let me pick back up Ice real quick. Yeah, that's what he'll do. And I do agree, but I was like, whoo, shit. Like I was on a hot seat.
Yo, Ice with the save, bro. You could have let my man flounder.
I'm glad he did, because I was just sitting there like, Rob, what's continue on?
I don't know, man.
But I mean, me personally, it all depends. I think, oh boy, when he gets put into that situation, since he's already half dead, it's different. I want to know how it is when I'm alive. Am I still like how he's going to be? If I'm not, where I'm still kind of like conscious, I'm able to do a lot more stuff and move around, then I'm good. I might take that route because I'm fully in. I'm whooping ass. But if you got me pretty much like a vegetable in that bitch, you know, like my mind is really working, nah.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like I wouldn't go for that immediately. Like if I could just like have, I guess what Mika has, I'd go for that. Like I feel, and without giving away too much, like, but about what we're about to talk about, when he goes full, into the suit like that, it becomes almost like a Darth Vader transition where he's like, oh, he's lost his humanity entirely. He's been consumed by his hatred and revenge. Like that's not a good place to be in.
Yeah, how many Star Wars references has Rob made on this podcast, bro?
Countless.
I feel like it's been every anime that we've done. He's somehow slipped that shit in there.
Of course.
Wait.
Everything, man.
Hey guys, let's take a moment and realize that there's is that not a lightsaber fight happening in the background there?
Oh yeah, that's Finn and Kylo Ren from episode 7.
And didn't I buy you some Legos on multiple occasions, Rob?
Oh yeah, no, for sure you have. I got Star Wars Legos like right over there. I could go.
I'm not trying to go on a tangent, but freaking Keenan's conspiracy theories, like I've been watching them a lot, and I've been like looking up the Mandela effect, and two of them was Star Wars ones. So I want to ask you, Rob, C-3PO.
Oh, yeah.
I'm familiar with this.
What color is his legs?
He's got one gold one and one silver one. See, yeah, I'm familiar with that one.
A lot of people think he just got a gold leg, and then the other one was what does Darth Vader say to Luke?
Luke,
he says, "No, I am your father." A lot of people think he says, "Luke, I am your father." He says, "No, I am your father."
Yeah.
Because
he does say, "I am your father."
He does, but he doesn't say Luke. He doesn't say
Luke.
Yeah, because Luke's line is, he told me enough. He told me you killed him, and he says, "No, I am your father."
Yeah.
I could have swore he said Luke.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the Mandela effect. Yeah.
Hey, look, Rob might be from that Mandela effect. I don't know.
I'm from an alternate universe.
But yeah, for the longest, I think probably what happened was that somebody either famous or from another movie that we watched, like maybe like a comedy or some shit like that. Yeah. Like that's what somebody said. It like came from that. Something like that. And then we started to use it as that.
Yeah. It's in Tommy Boy. Fucking Chris Farley's like doing the Vader voice into the fan, and he says, "Luke, I am your father." Like it's just the reference that gets made a lot. It's just misquoted. Kind of like "Play It Again, Sam" isn't in Casablanca, but everybody says that line, and nobody ever says that.
And Mirror, Mirror on the Wall, same thing. Like I was like, this shit's crazy.
Yeah.
She says magic mirror on the wall.
I don't remember that shit at all.
There you go.
Not magic mirror at all.
Yeah, me neither.
But yeah, go ahead, Rob. Sorry.
Anyway, back to
I just want to say, I mean, you
Orphans.
solidify. You answered both of them right, so you know the Star Wars stuff.
I sunk a lot of time in Star Wars. I know my shit. But Tekadon is still obviously fucked up over Biscuit's death. You know, they're all just like, shit, who's going to tell his sisters? Like, this is terrible.
Bro.
And Marabit's just like, well, clearly this is affecting Orga really badly. She looks like she's about to go talk with him, and then she's just like, because even she's talking to the old man about it, like, you know, what can we say? And he's just like, sometimes you got to let somebody go through it. Like, there's nothing you can say. He's going to feel shitty no matter what. But as she's leaving, she sees Mikazuki coming down the hall, and he has no problem. He's just like, open up, I'm coming in. Like, we got shit to figure out.
Who's the real boss?
Yeah, and it's a little bit, but I think Mikazuka's like is right here when he gets into him, and he's just like, all right, dude, like, I get you're sad, like, but there's a bunch of people out there
That need you.
fucking waiting to be told what to do next. You cannot hole up in here and feel sorry for yourself like this, or else this will all go to shit. You told me we were going somewhere. Where the fuck are we going? He's like picking him up off the ground, you know, shaking him, trying to be like, who do I kill next? Which is like maybe a little tone deaf, but you know, he's trying to shake him back into like snap out of it.
I felt like at first, and it took me a second, but at first I was thinking like, yo, this dude's a psycho. Like, he's really like, I don't know how to do, like, I need direction in life.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I need, and I think to me personally, it was half and half.
Yeah.
I think it was personally like, yo, bro, I need you to give me that, but also this is going to help him snap out of, I think he felt that way, that it just happened to snap him out of what he needed to snap out of. Yeah. I think he really felt that way. I don't think it was necessarily like a planned thing. I don't know if Mikazuka was that smart.
Yeah.
To be honest, in that aspect, not in a battle realm, but in this aspect.
I feel like too, from a leadership perspective, Orga knew what he was doing, making him like one of his close confidants. Because it's like, you have times even as a leader where it's like, fuck, man, you know, you got to take your L, but you got to have your people to tell, you know, to get you and be like,
Bro,
hey.
are you laughing what I'm laughing at?
I don't know, maybe. What are you laughing at?
Because I just saw Brennan check his elbow.
Oh,
it was just
I missed that.
Oh, okay.
I didn't even see him either.
I saw Brennan check his elbow like. And so it just made me think, because like, I was just like, oh man, I feel like this whole battle between Ice and Brennan is just like, it's that simple. All right, man, these motherfuckers is good, man. I put them on screen.
I can't even touch my elbows anymore. Like,
No, it just, cause it's the way you didn't just touch, you went.
I wasn't even doing that to take a shot or nothing.
I didn't even. What I was doing.
I didn't notice what Ice did. I'm talking about what Brennan did. Brennan was on screen.
Ice, just for the record, what I was doing literally had nothing to do with what you were saying. Keenan is not. Keenan is not referencing what you were saying either. Keenan was just saw what I did and it was good.
My brain is just how it is. I'm sorry, man. I apologize, man. Go ahead.
But yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, sometimes you just need people in your corner to let you know, like, you know, get the fuck
That's
up.
real. That's real. No, it reminds me when I was when I first graduated from college, I actually had to go into a management position working at Walgreens. And I was 22 years old, and I had my average age of my staff of like 14 people was like 47.
Damn.
Yeah. And so I had spent like 2 years learning how to be a manager because I was in like this internship program that was over the summer. And then I did that. Then I worked as a pharmacy tech for like a year and a half and still did management duties for that year and a half. And then as soon as I graduated, they promoted me to be like an assistant manager. So now I'm the boss of all these people. And I remember like it was so hard for me because I just didn't feel, I was like imposter syndrome, you know, even though I was more than capable and qualified to do it, the people who worked for me, I felt were more qualified to do what I wanted to. And I remember one day I was just like really sad. And like one of the older ladies, the staff lady, she could just tell like something was really affecting me. She kind of had to shake me out. I was like, yo, like, you're the boss, bro. And you're actually really good at this. I know that we've been here a lot longer and people give you shit because they don't want to see somebody as young as you doing as well as you're doing or whatever. But in all honesty, you have a good heart. You have a good head. You just keep doing what you're doing. And I promise you'll be fine. And I was like, I needed that. Like for me, I needed that. I was just like, oh my God, thank you. Of course. Thank you so much. You know, like for me, like having those people like to back you up at certain times like that is a big deal. Rap does that a lot too.
It's true. I see that. Sorry, go ahead, Keenan.
I'm sorry, I was gonna say Ice is in that position too. I mean, where you say he works, he's in a head position like that too. Do you have any? You ever had those feelings like it's like, damn, am I supposed to be here at a young age?
I know the thing is the age thing too. It's just like I'm the youngest in my area to really do what I'm doing, and there's people be looking at me like, dog, like most of everybody around me is older than me. I think the closest person to me is like 34. So it's like that's damn near like 6-7 years. So it's like. I gotta step up and show it, but at the same time, I do have the moments where people are like, no, you got it. Like one of my managers, he's 38, and it's like, what am I going to tell a 38-year-old black man? But it's at the times like that you got to tell him like, fam, like you fucking up. Like I get it, you a grown man, but if you're not saying that you fuck up, but like if you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, granted you're older than me, you probably have way more life experience than me, but I'm here for a reason, and I need to, but you do that through. Feedback. I mean, that's how I operate. Like, hey, if I suck, tell me that I suck. Like, let's have an open door that's like, you suck, Ice, you need to do this better. Or you suck with this, or this is great. Cool. Like, you have that open door policy, but at the same time, I need to tell you, when you're doing that. But yeah, that comes up a lot, and especially being younger too. It's just like, you have those moments, but then you have the people in the corner, like Brennan said, like, that be like, no, you got it, dog. And it's like, all right, cool, let's keep rocking.
Yeah, but also just to touch on that other half of this, like you were saying, Keenan, like there's a lot of threat and menace in what Mikazuki's saying here, and as much as he's just like giving him the motivational speech, there's a lot of it to me that's just like Orga must be thinking a little bit like, yo, what the fuck do I have on the other end of this leash right now? Like the fact that he's just like, he's got this attack dog that he's been able to stick on everybody because he's been able to keep feeding it meat and keep feeding it shit that he's just like, no, you want to kill somebody? Here you go. And then he's got this dog that's just like, yo, what the fuck am I about to do next? Because I'm still hungry and like, I got to eat. Still, and like I think
he's kind of scary, man.
I think there's a part of Orga that's also just like, yeah, like I gotta keep this going, or else who knows what he could turn into.
Because there's a situation where that can go, like the goons, quote unquote, they overtake the person. Like I think y'all seen Uncut Gems. That's like an example of that. Is like his. Have y'all seen Uncut Gems?
Yeah, I've seen it before.
No. Oh, but well, I don't want to ruin it then. But that's like kind of like the scenario. It's like, but those who have understand what I'm saying is like the goons end up being a bigger threat than the actual person with the goons.
Yeah, you can't show weakness. You know, like you got a lot of other killers that are underneath you that are looking for direction. You know, like. Pirate Captain, there's mutinies all the time.
Yeah.
Don't forget how they got here. It's by killing the last people that were in charge.
You have to show people you have to show people why you're there.
Yeah. And Orga is receptive to that. He's immediately just like, all right, shit. Yeah. All right, cool. Yeah, I got to do this. And then like he gets out there and, he whips him up. He's telling him like, we got to get out there and we are going to fucking kill these guys for Biscuit. And Kudelia, meanwhile, is doing her thing where she's just like, all right, we got to keep this going forward. There's kind of a flip side to this where earlier in the series, like she was the one that was mourning the loss of all these people, and Orga was just like, fuck it, we got to move on. And now it's the flip side where Orga's like feeling the weight of that, and she's just like, well, we got to keep going. Like stopping is not an option at this point. And she's working with Makanai, just like, all right, we got to get to the capital in Edmonton.
Makanai is an asshole.
Oh, he's a total asshole. He's a total opportunist, politician, dickhead. Yeah.
He looks like the old guy from Bleach, the king of the captains, like the head captain. Any of you guys watch Bleach?
No.
Mm-mm. All right.
You're on your own in this one. This has been well documented that none of us watch Bleach.
Yeah, please continue, Rob. I'm so sorry.
Well, Kudelia's got a plan. They obviously can't go right to Edmonton. It's kind of the same thing they had where they couldn't go right to Earth. They couldn't land right on Earth. They had to go some other way because they got to work around Gallahorn. So she comes up with this alternate route from her studies that she's like, if we land in Alaska, Makanai, if you can use like your connections to get a safe passage, I think we can get on a train here that'll take us right to Edmonton and we can get around all of Gallahorn. He's like, sounds like a plan. Let's do it. And soon enough, they're all on the train to Edmonton, getting ready to go and move on to the next thing. And in the next episode, we we see Carta again talking with McGillis' dad, and he's just like, yeah, he's going to help you out. We got some insider information on where they're going to be going because obviously McGillis knows where they are. He's been working with Tekadon as the Montag Corp or whatever. So he's now feeding information back to Gallahorn about where they are, which is just like kind of new to be suspicious of this guy, but still unsure what his ultimate goal is really.
Both sides of the park, man.
He really is. It's kind of like on Always Sunny where Mac's just like, I'm playing both sides, so no matter who comes out on top, I always win, you know? But on her way out of the office, she runs into McGillis, who kind of sweet talks her. Like, she comes in like very cold at first, just like, what the fuck are you doing here? Like, why don't you go talk to your, baby wife or whatever? And, and he's like, hey, I'm sorry you got hard feelings like that because, I always looked up to you. I always thought you were cool. Like,
this is the playerist of player moves right here. He must be from the Bay Area. This is a player move right here, dog.
Yeah,
he gamed her up.
Yeah, he so did.
He did. She's like blushing, just like, oh shit, I never really thought about it like that. Like, oh, okay. And she just, so she's just like, oh, okay, he's here to help me. We'll see. Anyway, so Tekadon is on the train to Edmonton, and Orga's running through inspections, just making sure everything's up in tip-top shape. And Maribit thinks that Orga is a little unhinged right now, that maybe all of this is a little unhinged right now, that they're going a little too headstrong.
Headstrong to take you
on. They've lost what they were doing this for in the first place, that they're kind of becoming radicalized. And she tries to talk to Orga about that. If you're going to go on this suicide mission to go invade like Gallahorn territory, like at least leave the small kids out of it. And two of the smaller kids are just like, listen up, lady, like fucking stay out of this. All right. Like, they killed our friend. All right. You can't tell us to stay out of this. We're adults.
Revenge was the whole topic of this whole
stretch.
Yeah.
I agree. How do you tell these kids that were born the way they were born? It's not like these weren't kids that were born under like a silver spoon and like, all right, maybe you guys can be a little bit sheltered. All they know is fighting.
Yeah.
All they know is revenge, I think.
So,
you gotta give revenge. You gotta give revenge for the big homie, man.
Yeah. No, exactly. Yeah, she keeps talking about like, oh, these kids have, they're not kids anymore. And it's like, were they ever?
Right.
Like
that's real. That's real.
What are they going to go back to? This
all
is
all
they have.
All they know is fighting.
It's true.
Fighting, all they have is each other. So if it's like, he said, who do they go back to? And it's like, death is like, we're supposed to die. Like, this is what it is. Like, this is life to us. It's not like we don't necessarily don't see anything greater on the other side. The grass is greener type shit.
No. Yeah. Meanwhile, back with Gallahorn, Galeo gets the call that Iron has been successfully, revitalized, and they bring him in to see him, and before he knows it, he's being led into like the hangar bay where all the suits are, and he's just like, where is he? And then the suit starts talking to him, and it turns out, like I said before, he's gone like full Vader at this point. He's just hooked up to the machines. He's got all sorts of tubes and machines sticking out of him, and they're just like, we gave him the works. Like, he is hooked up in that shit. And Galeo isn't really sure that he made the right choice, but Iron is super thankful. And it's just like, I finally have, two people I can respect in my whole life. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity for this revenge. Yeah.
Iron. Poor Iron.
I was going to, well, we'll get back to it. But Tekadon's still on the train, thinking that they're on their way through safe passage on their way to Edmonton. It picks up some Ahab reactors coming in.
No, can we say before that, this is the scene I think me and Ice
go for it.
So the scene me and Ice are talking about is what happens is Mika and Orga are on the train, and Orga's still kind of getting down on himself, and then Mika's like, yo, let me tell you something, bro. Like, my last conversation, and they do a flashback to his last conversation with Biscuit. Right. Yeah, and that flashback, Biscuit told him, was like, yo, I'm not quitting. Like, I'm about this life, like, I'm here for it. Like, he pretty much doubled down on saying, like, like, that's what he was going to tell Orga later. Because remember, Biscuit and Orga had a pact that they were going to have a talk after that battle. And so they couldn't, but now Orga knows what he's going to say. That moment right there, when Biscuit said that and Orga's reaction to it, that's the most emotion I felt this season. I was just like, the way he was just like, he just took it. It was just like, it's like, you got to just imagine it's like your best friend, like the person who's there who helps you, like, yo, I'm going to do this thing. Like, well, Mika got my back. He's the sword. But the way that we put the sword in the right place is because of the conversation I have with Biscuit. And so it's just like losing your right hand man. And it's like the way that he took it, like the way he was just like, he's like, I was just like,
that actually wasn't my time. That wasn't what I thought.
That was my time. That was it.
That wasn't. It comes. I guess I said the train and you ought to, but no, that was a dope moment too. But the moment that got me is what Rob about to talk about. But that was shit. That was crazy too because it's just like
I think I know what you're talking about too.
Put that battery in his back.
Yeah, so what Rob's about to say, I think, is that, okay, so they're just chugging along, and then...
Well, they're chugging along, and they get the signal that, there's Ahab reactor signals coming up ahead of them, and they're just like, how the fuck did Gallahorn know we were here? And Orga is immediately like...
He knows,
McGillis sold us the fuck out. But he can't explain that all to them right now, so just like, another, like, we will table this till after
exactly.
sort of conversation, but we gotta go right now. So they hit the brakes on that train, and it's Karta waiting for them, with that cape, like, the red flag thing that Crank had, challenging him to a 3-on-3 duel. Like, hey, you have 30 minutes.
I love this.
You have 30 minutes.
Is so dumb on so many levels. She is so dumb.
I wanted to like her because she had the boss mentality of, or I will say the boss mentality, but also the fearless mentality of like, yo, I'm with the shits. I'll give anybody these hands.
No, but she
ain't.
She
tried to be Sail and it backfired.
Bro,
Go ahead.
It feels like she's never fought anybody before. So, like, her first battle ever, she took a mad L and had, like, no hope of victory. And then she shows up with less people in the same mobile suits against the same force they were fighting.
No, she has a cape now.
Oh, she has a cape now.
And then she kind of threatened them, like, yo, pretty much when we win or some shit, like, y'all gotta give up, give some people, all them people, and then, y'all gotta just pretty much bounce after this shit. And it's just like, who are you? You lost.
Right.
Who are you to threaten us with this shit? Shut the fuck up.
Even
like,
more so?
Kevin Hart, like that Kevin Hart joke is like, this is not your line, bro, fam. Like, you got beat up. Like,
you know what she could have done? You know what she could have done easily to be able to make that entire confrontation worth it? As soon as they stop the train, she takes her sword and she slashes the tracks in front of her. You know what I'm saying? Y'all ain't going nowhere anyway, so we might as well fight. But she didn't do that. She was like, I gotta be on.
At least other than Crank, she gives them the, like, if you win, you can keep going thing. Like, there's all this, like, supposed honor, but that clearly doesn't get him anywhere.
What is honor among murderers?
And that's exactly what she's about to find out, because she's like, you have 30 minutes, and just as she doesn't even finish the sentence when Mikazuki's, like, in his Gundam on top of her two dudes just absolutely destroying them. Like,
how do you do this? This is not honorable. It's like, bitch, this ain't about honor.
Right.
This is about, like, you killed the homie, fam.
Right.
It's over for you.
You killed Biscuit. Like, you don't get to speak.
Right.
You don't get to speak.
And it's like, shit, Mika killed everybody.
Mika showed up. Mika showed up so tough, though. Like, he showed up like, the first guy was like, oh, this guy, like, tries to get back into his Gundam and just immediately kills and then Mika steps on, crunches his, like, cockpit flat. I was just like, oh.
Well, you know what this reminded me of? It reminded me of the song Jadakiss, right? Jadakiss, when he was like, I forgot what song it's called, but he was like, ain't no more fair ones. Now niggas will jump your mom. Like, I don't care. We beating up your family. We don't care. We ain't. Everybody dies. And once one of the homies go, that's how I feel. Like, we ain't no plan. Not necessarily ain't no plan. Ain't no morals, man.
Yeah.
Man,
I mean, that's why gangs are so big, because it's like eye for an eye. Like, you come in my hood, kill my homie, we're gonna kill two of your homies. You kill two of mine, we gotta get three of yours. Like,
ain't no 3-on-3s.
Yeah.
Mika was 1-on-3. He took out the first two guys in pretty much a blink of an eye. And them dying pretty much gave her the opportunity to get in her mobile suit to fight. And as we learned before, is she a match for Mika in the field and melee combat?
It's not even close.
Serve like fucking soft serve ice cream.
No, I believe there's a word. There's a word for what happened to her, guys. What is that word?
She got KO'd.
She got KO'd. This is the one time his that fucking weapon looked great because it's got like that chainsaw thing in there, and he just clamps on the one Gundam arm and just grinds that shit off and throws it. It's just like, oh no, dude.
This is the part that got me, because all the kids, everybody came outside, and
they were like,
homegirl was like, go back in like y'all kids, like y'all don't want to do that. And they was like, what? Like, no, she killed the homie. We about to watch this.
We're gonna watch this.
Run the fade.
That shit was so hard to me. Like, I got so hyped because I was like, let's go. Like, y'all coming out like, all right, we ain't in a fight, but we about to pull up. Like, we about to watch her take this L for killing the homie. Like, I got so hyped watching that because it's like, that's how you support your people. Like,
that's real.
Yeah. But even Akihiro, he was kind of like, yo, you killed. You didn't let us get this work. We want to get this work.
Yeah.
We want a piece of this.
Yeah, he was mad. He's like, Mika just gonna kill everybody? He's gonna kill them all?
Damn.
That's what I loved. This scene to me was like, this. Yeah.
That was the hardest scene of the whole show for me because they just came out like, we gonna watch you die. Like, because you killed our guy. Like, don't play that.
And the whole time she getting served up, she keeps saying, "I'm not gonna die like this. Nah, I got to give him this work. I'm gonna win." And then at a certain point, she was kind of like, "You know what?
I don't think when she tried to run, she fired the rockets and tried to run, and Mika was like, "You're going nowhere.
Back here, man.
Where are you going?
Where are you going? Nowhere.
Yeah.
And so
he's about to finish this up when Galeo comes out of nowhere on his Gundam, which has got. Did he have this before? It almost looks like he's like a knight riding a horse or something like that.
Freaking, he looked like
I think he had that before, but only briefly in the last battle.
I didn't notice it, but he grabs her and just like sprints out of there. And Mikazuki's about to go after him when Orga calls him back and is just like, no, like, don't get too far. Like, this is over. Like, she's done. She's done. Let's just, forget that and we'll just keep moving because we got bigger fish to fry once we get there. And so they all get back on the train. Meanwhile, Galeo is taking her away and she's dying and she thinks it's McGillis that's rescued her and it's just like, oh, you came back for me. And he doesn't have the heart to tell her that, it's not him. It's tough. I mean, she goes, she's not in a good way when she finally goes off. It's pretty sad, but,
it was a slow, agonizing death.
It was, which, she deserved. For Biscuit, she deserved it.
Biscuit,
Hey, fuck her, man.
All I say is that, like, she would have been better off if that guy wouldn't have rescued her. You know what I'm saying? Like, because Mika would have finished it quick.
He would have made it quick.
Yeah.
But Tekadon gets back on the train, and the episode ends as they're just finally getting to their final destination in Edmonton.
Edmonton, the turnip city.
The next episode picks up a few days after that. Usually they're direct pickups, but this one takes.
I was so confused by that.
I thought I missed an episode at first.
Yeah, me too. I had to go back and watch the end of the last episode. I was like, okay,
yeah,
all right.
Because Atra and Kudelia are taking care of the wounded, and there's like a lot of Tekadon soldiers that are patched up, bandaged. They've got this one kid that's like got a bloodshot eye that can't even really see through it. It's tough.
On 300.
Yeah,
Midnight's right hand.
Mm-hmm. So they're doing the best they can to hold it down. We hear that they've been fighting against Tekadon for the last against Galhorn the last 3 days. They've been trying to get into the city. We even hear that this is Galhorn even going further out of its way than it usually should. Like, they're not even usually supposed to get involved in these sort of affairs. But McGillis's dad is got this whole puppet master thing going on where he's trying to get some lady, it seems like he's banging, elected as prime minister.
Old face looking heifer.
Yeah. This old lady with pink hair that we find out soon after this is fake. But he's trying to get her as elected as prime minister, but if Makanai gets in, that all gets shot to shit, and Galahorn gets totally exposed for having basically rigged an election, which would expose their corruption to the world. So he's obviously stressing out about this. They're throwing everything they have just into keeping Tekadon out of the city. Tekadon, meanwhile, can't interfere with their mobile suits, at least not in the fight to get inside the city, because the Ahab reactors are so strong that they'll cause a blackout, and it'll make public opinion turn against them. They can't really afford that. So they have all their mobile suits kind of fighting outside the city against all the Galahorn suits. And all this fighting has been going on for 3 days. And we see a final moment where, the turbines and the Tekadon mobile suits get a final break in the action. And Mikazuki, the sociopath that he is finally like, finally I can eat. Shino's just like, how can you eat after all this? Like, this is ridiculous.
He's just in there munching.
Sociopath. Like you say, he's a sociopath.
He's a sociopath, I think a little bit. But Orga brings them all together and is just like, listen, it's 6 hours until this election. The people in the parliament are getting nervous. You know, all the people that are polling for Makanai are calling him like, hey, man, are you showing up or what? Because this election is about to go down and you're not even here yet. So it's do or die time at this point. And Orga gets up in front of the crew and is just like, guys, like, this is what we came here to do. Like, this is the job. We got to throw down everything. Like, throw down your lives, but know that it's in doing so to build a better future. You're investing your lives in the overall vision of Tekadon. So go out there and literally give everything you have. It's a fight to the finish at this point. Yeah. And you see everybody, getting geared up for that. The mobile suits head off to the field to kind of do their thing. They've got everybody suiting up to get into the mobile workers. Even some of the kids that don't usually get in the mobile workers are heading off and getting ready to go.
That lady always hating.
She is.
Like,
yeah. She
stop. Like, bitch, shut up. Like,
yeah. And this is.
Well, I mean, we got to get it. She's actually an adult. They're all kids. She has. I think that's a motherly instinct. Yeah. Like, come on.
I think
man.
that's just an adult instinct. Like, these are. Can you imagine being there, Ice? Like, yo, these kids are 8, 9, 10, 11 years old, dying in battle brutally in front of you. You're just gonna sit there and be like, yeah, well, this is what they were born to do.
Go on out there, kids.
Right. Y'all have fun. Y'all have fun. Don't run. No running.
I think maybe up until the point where they was at the train and they was like, no, this is what we do. That would have been my turning moment. Like, oh, y'all killers for real. Y'all came out just to see homegirl get smoked. All right. I have no control over y'all at this point. Cause
I'd say you don't have control, but you still have feelings. As like, I didn't have a childhood like that. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, I feel like I want to give a piece of the happiness I had in my childhood to these kids who've had such a horrible childhood. And even if I do understand, like, they're with the shits.
But the only way they're going to get to that happiness is if they fight. And that's the same thing that Orga was saying. Like, hey, y'all ain't had happiness up until now. Yeah,
they win. If they lose, there ain't no happiness.
They was like, hey, y'all ain't been happy till now, but the only slice of happiness that y'all could have is if we win this fight. So y'all got to get out there. And, he did a really good job of hyping them up and getting them after it.
He did.
Yeah, because they're out there on the bridge, like, literally giving it all. Like, they're going for the open positions. They're charging. They're getting blown up. We're seeing a lot.
Smoked.
Not necessarily anybody we...
They're geting blown up. It just sounded like so like, well...
They are. I mean, I can't... It was nobody I recognized. You know what I mean? Which we can get,
as cold as ice, man.
We'll talk about that in my rating later on. But I mean, you've got kids out there charging into their deaths, and even some of the Gallahorn people, like, you can see kind of why Tekadon is winning. Like, you've got some of the Gallahorn people just like, like, there it is over there. We can't go over there. Like, can you imagine any of the Tekadon people doing that? Like, they would have been after it, like, backing their people up to try to make sure that, it just didn't mean as much to them.
Yeah, it's like... Yeah.
They're like, I don't even know why we're here. But meanwhile, on the bridge, like, while they're, making their attack to make the opening, Eugene and some of the other guys former human debris that they had freed from the Brewers, making a surprise appearance. They somehow got down to the surface with some mobile workers and are out there firing on the bridge and make an opening for them. So Orga and his mobile worker, along with the truck that's got Makanai and Kudelia driven by Atra, charged through the opening and are making their way through the city. Meanwhile, out in the field where the mobile suits are fighting, Galeo gets onto the scene with his Gundam, and obviously he's got an axe to grind with these Tekadon guys. So they're having a pretty heated battle, but Tekadon's doing Tekadon things. They're killing everybody. It looks like Galeo and Mikazuki are in for a pretty heated, like, one-on-one fight when all of a sudden this massive mobile suit lands on the field, piloted by Ein, and he just starts going in on everyone.
Crazy.
Whoa.
Yeah.
He goes crazy, and he's huge. That's what kind of caught me off guard. Like, this
he came with the two girls first and was just like, yo, y'all, I'm trying to kill y'all, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He smashed old girl like straight, like, bow, right in the middle of the head, bro.
Yeah.
That ruthless. But he comes with revenge.
He was ripping him apart, like stabbing him with her axes. He's got like the war machine. He's got like fucking the automated turret like on his shoulder, like firing around. Like he's got all the bells and whistles, and he's just making short work of the turbine suits. He gets in against like Shino and his crank, and that of course sets his gray suit, and that sets him off because it's his old boss crank suit, and he like punches that thing straight through the head, and I thought
his head like. Fuck, bro.
And he's like, I finally got your suit back, master. Like, this dude is totally, like, off his fucking rocker at this point. Yeah.
Yeah, your master's dead, homie. You don't even care.
Yeah, it's bad. He's completely unhinged. And in the city, they're driving through, trying to get to the parliament, and they're on their way to it, and they're almost there when all of a sudden, like, they lose power, and they realize, like, oh, shit, they must have sent one of the mobile suits into the city, and Ein has left the battlefield, leaving, basically just Mikazuki and Galeo out there to fight it out, and has gone after these guys. And Orga realizes what this means, that they've like totally thrown caution to the wind. They don't give a fuck about public opinion anymore. They're just like, we cannot stop, or we cannot let these guys get to Parliament, or else it is checkmate. So they have thrown everything into the wind. And when he lands, the trucks go absolutely flying. They all get flung out of there.
You're like, and you brought a mobile suit to the city. How dare you?
And Kudelia does exactly that. Like, hey, you're here for me. Like, so here I am. Like, if you want revenge, I'm the reason this is all happening. And I thought she was about to get smoked at that point. I thought she was done, because he is about to bring the axe down on her and Atra, who jumps in the way. And Mikazuki,
sister wife,
has somehow managed to get out of the fight
and just come
and charges in and saves him at the last second. But we find out. I don't remember.
You know what happened, man?
What's
that?
What
happened when he charged in? All I heard was they say that a hero
every time.
Trash, bro. Get that shit out of here, bro. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Dude.
Keenan, that's why you don't have friends, man.
Look at Brennan, bro. Brennan is cracking me up.
Oh my god! But he managed to keep him from killing Kudelia and Atra, and we find out that back on the other field where he was fighting Galeo, he got rescued by McGillis in his Montag getup. And as he lands in front of Galeo, he's just like, "Hey, man, sorry, but you're going to be fighting me," and takes off the mask and the wig, and shows him finally who he is. And I guess at the end of the day, like we see where McGillis comes down, when all the cards are down, whose side he's on. He's there to fight against the Galahorn establishment, even if that means his best friend, Galeo. And
selfish fuck.
He is definitely a selfish dude. And the last episode of the season starts off as all of this is culminating. Mikazuki is trying to fight against Ein and is just completely outmatched.
He's too fast.
Where he's at. Yeah,
too fast, too strong.
Yeah, he's too
and he tells him, like, I have like the system that you're supposed to have. You're nothing to me. Like, you are just a space rat, and I'll fucking kill you. And he's going in on him, and really, while that's going on, we see the flip side of that. In the other battle that we just left, Galeo is having a full-on breakdown when he finds out that McGillis is behind all this.
He had to be hurt, bro.
He was on some Thorfinn shit for real.
Yo, no, this is the biggest L I can he took the biggest.
You realize that's his older sister, right? Because that older girl was his older sister, right?
No, they're not related.
No, they're not related.
But like a good friend or whatever.
Yeah, that's their homegirl.
They all grew up together, though.
When old dude says, "Yeah, I'm gonna take real good care of your sister," I'm gonna take real good care.
So I don't have to worry about it. I was like,
dog,
you are sick.
Like, so Galeo. What's his name? The guy that's whooping his ass again?
McGillis.
Yeah. First of all, McGillis got some hands with the mobiles, like these suits. Yeah. Like this dude is just like parrying his attacks, like cutting.
Because it's a smaller Gundam than Galeo's.
Yeah, he's lighting him up, but at the same time, he's also letting him know, like, by the way, when I told you I needed you to die. Because I'm gonna marry your sister, I'm gonna become the figurehead of the family, because I'm my dad. And I'm
I
actually
wasn't
here.
lying.
I'm here to grab power, and I also needed Iron to become part of one of the mobile suits, so that we get rid of him. And now we can see how terrifying Gallahorn is because what they would do to their own soldier to bring him into this kind of a battle. So he was just like, "What, Anma? You're marrying my sister?" He's like, "Don't worry, I promise you, she'll be happy."
She's straight.
Oh,
And I was just like, and then he kills him. And then he kills him.
bro, I don't understand. I don't understand how you don't have enough rage.
Yeah.
Remember, his sister is underage, so it's like,
how many L's can you take in one season?
That's like L.
Yeah.
This is
That's the
worse
thing too. The coldest thing he was saying too. He was like, "Bro, you got all this rage right now. You angry, you all this shit. You got that. It's like I don't have those soft ass emotions." He was like,
I have no space for that.
He was like, I'm good, fam. That's why you getting smoked out right now because I ain't got none of that.
So I have a question. I have a question to you guys. Did he get it worse than Kato over the course of the season?
He got it.
Yeah.
To me, I think he got it mentally worse. I think Kato got it physically worse.
Yeah, okay.
So I'm just saying, if you had to take the
also
Kato,
too is the Kato got his ass whooped in real life, like in person by another human being. Like they're in mechs, so I feel like that kind of takes it away a little bit. But like,
so if you had to pick Galeo's position or Kato's position, you got to take one of these L's. Which L are you gonna take?
I'm taking Kato's L.
Yeah,
because there's two levels to there's only one level to Kato's L. Like granted, your pride hurt that you lost, but you still lived another. Did he die? Did Kato die?
No, he lived.
Kato lived, so you get to live another day. Granted, he didn't really make up for it, but you still get to live another day.
Yeah.
Freaking Galeo, that's just like this is a premeditated L. That's the thing about it. Like
it's
this
so
L
bad.
is decades in the making. Like we
so many layers.
Grew up together.
Yeah.
He knew this from the get go. It's like, and then he stirred the pot. We homies, and then you flip the script and you whoop my ass, and you kill my homegirl, our homegirl, and that I saved. That was calling your name on her deathbed. And then on top of that, you with my sister. Like,
you about to smash my 11-year-old sister, fam.
And
9-year-old sister.
9-year-old sister.
And you are my mentor.
Yeah. And like not only that, he made him sell out like his one core value to like sacrifice his like mentee just to like turn him into a fucking monster that will be hated throughout history.
He's diabolical as hell. I was gonna say I would rather take Galileo. What's his name again? Galileo. Yeah, I would rather take his L at first, but he dies. Yeah. But if he didn't die, I would rather take his L than Kato's. But
what about so then from a mental? Who's more mentally fucked, him or Shinji? Is that his name?
Galileo or Kato?
No, Galileo or Shinji. Who's more fucked in the head? Like from that.
Is Shinji from Neon Genesis?
Yeah.
I feel like he would be like
Galileo.
in a Shinji state of mind after that. Like, that would have to rip out like that. He just ripped out his brain, took it apart, and gave it back to him. Like everything in your life has been a fucking lie, and I puppet mastered this whole shit. Like
exactly.
He's been building him up for episodes. Like, dude, I need you. Like, you are so important to the future of what's going to happen with Gallahorn. And he's like, that's true, but the way you're important is because you are going to die, and everything you represent is going to go away. And I'm going to destroy every trace of your family's legacy. Like, that is diabolical.
The only thing I can say is that the only redeeming quality that you can give McGillis is that you could make the argument that everything he did was to end the actual corruption within Gallahorn, which he saw the inequities from within. Yeah. It's like for him to be able to actually break down the 7 stars, he had to do that shit. He could not have done it politically in a way that doesn't make any sense. Like he had to give up his only friend. You know what I'm saying? He had to give up all the relationships with people he was close with, and he had to betray everybody around him for the greater good. So it's like you can make an argument that he actually made he at least made one of the biggest voluntary sacrifices of anybody in the show to be able to be the greater good. But we don't know what kind of leader he's going to be yet because that's how the season ends.
This guy on my shirt did the same thing in Naruto, basically.
Yeah, so but that's the thing is like, how do you like, because we're talking about how diabolical he is and all this other kind of stuff. But it's like, is it diabolical or is it just is he just being manipulative to get towards a greater good? You know what I'm
He's
saying?
a hoe, and so is his mother.
Damn.
Your mama's a hoe.
And your mama's a hoe.
Rob, what do you think? Like, you see what I'm saying?
Now I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I see what he's
yeah.
saying. That it's like there's an argument that this is for a greater good. You kind of have to, I guess, have faith in McGillis right now that his version of what the greater good is actually a greater good, right?
Right.
And that's yet to be seen.
'Cause I feel like McGinnis, if he rocking with if he knew Galeo was rocking with him that hard, he could have been like, "Fam, this shit is corrupt. Let's figure
The fucked
this
up part
shit
is
out together."
he told him so many times though. He's like, Gallahorn is corrupt. It's really corrupt. We got to do whatever it takes to stop this corruption. And my man just didn't take his words literally. You know what I'm saying? He's just like, yeah, we're in this together. It's like, no.
I feel like it should have been like
whatever it takes.
He should have been straightforward, like, "Hey, I'm gonna do a fucking coup, and I want you to be a part of it." If
He
you're
wouldn't have
not,
done it though.
then
That's his
I got
whole.
it.
That's his whole personality. He was like the ultimate soldier. He and Iron had the ultimate dedication to Gallahorn and the leadership of Gallahorn, and where he was just saying like, "Yo, the leadership is where the corruption is. We have to remove the leadership, and the only way to do that is you're the person who's in line to be the next leader." Yeah. You know what I'm saying? If you're around, you're going to be the next leader. You're going to maintain what's going to happen next because that's what your personality is, and that's what you've been taught. So,
Right. And I'm not 100% sure on this either, but they also sort of imply that McGillis might have been like adopted and not like an actual child. So the fact that Galeo Karta, the fact that they are actually biological children, he probably fears that, they'll have ultimate loyalty to their families and what they built with Gallahorn. And for him to take that over and totally restructure that, he can't have anybody that has any sort of loyalty to the old guard or the way that things used to be. He's got to literally start from scratch to just be like, all new people, we are doing this different. So hopefully it's for the greater good, but we can't know yet. So far, I don't trust him personally.
At all.
That's me. But after that reveal and all that crazy shit goes on, we get back to the Parliament floor where Makanai is finally arriving with Kudelia.
May I talk about this, Rob? Do you mind?
Yeah, go for it. No, go for it.
He walks in that motherfucker like a boss. He walks in and they're like, "Yeah, we about to vote." And he's like, "Y'all, but what? Like this is, how did you get here?" He's like, look here, woman. Right. I was the prime minister this young. I know this streets better than you do. You shut up. Matter of fact, let's have an election. But before we do, well, sir, would you like to speak? Like, no, she about to speak because she got some shit to say. And she was like, oh me? And he's like, Kudelia, look, you just let your heart out, girl. Like, don't worry, it's gonna be fine. And she got up there and she did it. And she just let him know, it's like, yo, here's the corruption. Here's what I'm doing. Here's what I've seen. Here's what's going on. Y'all need to vote somebody in here that's going to do something right. This guy.
Why was that prime minister on that island anyway?
He got exiled.
He got exiled.
He got exiled by Gallahorn. You know, because he was like, regardless of how much of a dick he is, because he just didn't seem to give a shit about Tekkadan and how the kids are dying. He's like, can you guys do it or not? Like, you don't see these motherfuckers dying.
Yeah, you're right.
But
that was corny. That pissed me off when he said that.
Yeah, you're just like, oh, looks like they're not going to be able to do it. Shrug. Like, fuck off, old man. Like, give me a break.
You don't have to say anything at that point, fam. Like, just shut up and let them do their job. But I think he says asshole things, but I think in action, the guy actually has the best intentions in mind because
he did follow up that statement saying that he rocks with him and he knows they'll.
He's like, I owe big to these guys. He was like, my debt is growing. I'm watching it happen all around me. And he's going to pay it. You know, he's like, not only am I going to pay it, he gave Kudelia, like, he got elected. They had the parliament session, transferred the power to him and Kudelia, and they ended up doing the negotiations exactly the entire reason she was there. She got what she wanted. They agreed to it. And all these things are now changing, which is messing up all of the outer sphere's economic blocks and the trust in Gallahorn and all that kind of stuff. The whole entire world just got flipped on its head. It's pretty much what happens at the end of the season.
Yeah.
But though there's the political victory, the actual battle is still going at this point. But once they are able to get them into the parliament, Orga is able to give the order to everybody. Like, listen, guys, they got to where they're going. Mission accomplished. Just fucking survive. Like, just get back to base, live. And this is kind of a turning moment where you see the old man with Miss Marabit, and he's just like, finally, Orga gets to give the order he's always wanted to give. Because, of course, he wants these kids to live. Like, this is his family. But he also realizes for them to be successful and do what they have to do, they have to put it all on the line sometimes to get done what they need to get done.
He said some cold shit too. He was like, if you die, I'm gonna kill your ass again. Like,
He's like,
that was
guys,
hard.
was that we've won. If you die now, I will make sure to kill you again because your job now, your only job at this moment, the only order I'm giving you is to live.
Yeah.
Woo! And then the old black guy, who was also not a token black guy at all in the show, which I loved it.
They
he
did
just
a really
was.
good job with him.
Yeah, he just was. He just was super cool. I like him. He's a really good character. I would have been hurt if he died. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
that would have been sad.
Yeah. But he was just like, yo, like, to what's her name? He was just like, yo, like, this is the order Olga has been wanting to give since he took leadership of Tekkadan. Like, he's been wanting to say, yo, guys, just live. That's what he wanted to say since the beginning.
Yeah. But there is one still big fight going on with Ein. And like we've been saying, Mikazuki is outmatched and outclassed at this moment. He even has like his big trash weapon get broken by Ein. And he just kind of says like, all right, like, you know, he has his heart-to-heart moment with the Barbados suit and is just like, you know, give me it all, you know, put it all through. He goes to his final form and like we see like instantaneously, like his eyes goes bloodshot, like his nose starts bleeding. He's in like overdrive at this point. And it does bring his performance up to a commensurate level with Ein, and he's able to finally fight on an even battlefield at this point, using his sword, and he's able to finally chop through one of the arms and then, you know, just make the final killing blow to put the bastardization that was Ein out of his misery. And they finally win. But, you know, this battle doesn't come without some consequences, even though most of the people we know at this point have lived.
Wait.
We see that.
Are we happy?
Go ahead.
Are we happy that he's using the sword now, Ice?
Yeah,
it's cool.
I mean, the sword got it done, to be honest.
Yeah, facts. He was on his trunks.
Yo. All right, just making sure we like the weapon now. All right, go on.
Okay, we do. But all the turbine ladies that went down, it was questionable whether or not they lived. They did make it out alive. Shino, whose graze was fucked up, and he definitely was injured, but he is still fine.
That made me mad, man. Well, I'll talk about that.
There are some consequences to this, and mostly for Mikazuki. He can't see out of the eye that went bloodshot anymore. His right arm entirely is now useless, except for when he's plugged in.
When he's plugged in, he's like, everything works when I'm plugged in. I'm just like, oh no.
That's all that matters to him.
He had to become partially like Ein to beat him.
Yeah. It's true. And Atra is just like, you know, she's just like, oh yeah, I'll make a bigger and thicker bracelet for you next time. And he's just like, no, that'll just get in the way. Thank you. But we're kind of in the resolution of everything at this point. Like Brennan was saying, like all the rights get hashed out. Everybody gets what they want. You know, Tekkadan gets brought on as like a military advisor to the Arbrow block, which is where Makanai was elected as prime minister. All the half metal rights get distributed to the people that they were supposed to be distributed to. McGillis is now in charge of Galeo or Galahorn.
They had a cringy moment for me.
Yeah,
she was sitting in his lap, and he's like, Mackie, what's going on? And he's just like, oh, it's okay, it's all good. I'm like, oh, just seeing her.
He's like, my brother's gone, and he was like, it's okay. He wouldn't want you to cry. I'm like, you killed him.
And
you killed him.
And she's sitting in his lap. Like, I was like,
yikes.
That made me. I was like, ugh, it's so gross, man. That's just, ugh.
Yeah, it's no good. We'll have to see what happens with McGillis. So everybody's getting ready to go back. Kudeli's going to stay on Earth to continue to work. But Tekkadan is ready to go back to Mars. And Naze lands and is just like, yeah, we're getting ready to take you back. Miss Maribit gets to see that the kids are acting like kids again.
Like, look, bitch, see?
Yeah. Back to the way things were. And it does seem to be, you know, a somewhat happy moment for these people as they're getting ready to head back. It's bittersweet, of course, because not everybody gets to go back, you know, with the loss of Biscuit. And some other people that were nameless. It's time to continue their mission, and their mission at this point is to just get home and find the next job. And that's a wrap on season 1 of Iron Blooded Orphans.
Yeah.
All right,
on a fist bump.
I do want to add like I think we might have did it once or twice before, but add would you recommend this anime to anybody too?
Got it.
So
would you, and who would you recommend it to?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You wanna go first, Ice?
Yeah, I think for me, are we doing stretch episodes or are we just doing overall?
Both.
We're doing yeah.
This stretch and then also overall.
Stretch episodes, I feel like it was neck and neck with the 1-2 episodes previously. I feel like they still kind of kept true to their action, lay back a little bit, then action again formula to get you enticed for the next one. I feel like this stretch of episodes was strong, but I think one of those episodes, like between like the transition from 3 to 4 to 4 to 5, somewhere in between, it was kind of dead, and I was like, what? Like I was bored, but then it picked it back up. I was very upset that, I mean, this sounds terrible, but I was very upset that nobody like died outside of Biscuit. Because I feel like those 3 people, Shino and then the other 2, like I feel like they should have been fucking gone. And for none of them to, like for the casualties, granted Biscuit was a big casualty, but for Biscuit to really be the only big casualty throughout this whole war, I feel like that was kind of a cop-out. And I feel like it just should have, like, for you guys to amp it up so much, to have those little kids get killed, to have Biscuit die, like you've had moments where it's like people can die, and it's like you got to keep that same energy. For them 3 not to die, that kind of took the wind out of the sails of the show as far as the gravity of what war is. And then it just, I don't know, I think and maybe it just ended a little too like happy, hunky dory for me, you know. Granted, like Mika's got his eyes and stuff like gone and whatever, but overall, I feel like the show, that stretch of episodes was like was a 6,500 for me. Overall, I give it a 6,100. And then I don't think I would necessarily recommend this show to anybody, really. I think it's I don't think it carries its weight as far as the episodes, as far as the episode count. I think I feel like we say this for so many, or at least I say this for a lot of shows, but I feel like they could have got less done. I don't think it could have been like a 12 episode type of deal. I feel like a good maybe 18, 20 episode run would have maybe helped it a little bit better. But
what would you have cut out?
I think the having the like, oh, this is my, like, I wouldn't necessarily cut out anything. I feel like they could have been shorter with it. Like I feel like they could have been shorter with it. I mean, that's true. That's basic script
look, I don't want you to cut nothing, but like do it like faster.
That's basic. That's basic script writing. That's script writing. If I have a 10-page setup to set up somebody, if I can do something in 10 pages, I can do it in 2. You can do it in 2. You don't have to cut anything. You can still get the meat and potatoes. That's what I'm saying. It's like all the points that they hit, you still could have had that, but it's like get to it faster. I mean, that I don't even know why you're making a joke, but that's script writing. That's just good writing. It's like
I know, but specifically, I'm like, what would you cut out? And you're like, I just make it better. And I'm like, okay, that doesn't.
Yeah, I was just saying make it short. I said still hit all the points that you hit. It's
but
just like.
But that's
you're
still not really saying anything.
I am. If I'm going to say this is just a hypothetical. If I'm going to say, oh, Brennan's a bald bitch, I'm going to be like, hey, Brennan, look at you with your glasses and your headphones and your shiny head. Oh, you know, like, I can just be like, you
no, so that's what I'm asking you, though. It's like, okay, give me like a part of like, okay, here's a stretch of 2 episodes.
This whole 5 episodes, I feel like they could have been shorter. You got to have Eugene come in. You got to have the stuff with Biscuit. You got to send Biscuit off. You got to have Biscuit, them talk about, who they said multiple times, who's going to tell this to Biscuit's parents? Like, all of that stuff could have been condensed in one thing. The stuff on the beach could have condensed that. You had Carter having her whole monologue when she died. That could have been shorter. Like the first monologue when they came to the island, her whole song and dance, all that shooting back and forth. Akihiro, you got to shoot it. Oh, okay. Oh, you got to feel it. Oh, let me feel it and shoot it. Like all that stuff, that could have been 3 episodes, and it would have still hit the same. Like,
I feel like I just want to give you some Ritalin or something.
No, you said I'm just telling you. You asked me to give you an example. That's
okay,
an example.
Thank you. All right.
So then overall, like I really wouldn't. It's not a bad show, but I feel like it is. I wouldn't recommend it to nobody because it's other shows that hit harder as far as like emotions go. Because I know that was the main thing that you talked about in the show is like how hard it hits people emotionally, and I feel. What did
you end up rating Tokyo Ghoul season 1?
5,400, 5,500, somewhere around there.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not biased to my own stuff. It wasn't that great of a season. It was all right.
Okay. All right. I'll go next. I'll let Rob and Brennan wrap it up. I like these last 5. These me personally for my style. Like I said, I think everybody has like a type of style. So for my style of type of anime, what I wanted an anime action wise, I feel like this gave me finally what I wanted fully for 5 episodes straight. So these are my favorite stretch, along with the other ones we talked about that I agree with Ice. Those are like neck and neck, but I feel like I would give this a slight edge. I agree. I do feel like there should have been more casualties. I don't think it should have just been Biscuit. I think Akihiro should have had some more love in these last stretches too.
Definitely.
I think he was underutilized a lot in these last few, and I think he should have been.
Especially with a dope name like Akihiro. Like
to me, he had the best mech.
Yeah,
he had the best. He had the best one. Remember he had old dude pinned down. He brought the forearms out and was just like motherfucker. Yeah, I'm into you. Yeah, that's hard. To me, he had the best one. I think it should have took him, Akihiro and Mikazuki to beat that. To beat Iron. To be honest with you, I don't think it should have been a one-man job. I think they should have fought. Akihiro's on his last leg, and then you probably see Mikazuki turn up at that point and say like, "I need everything I got," and then boom, take him out. But I don't think it should have ended with that. But I still love this stretch. I would give this stretch of episodes a 70. I think it's 70, 73, 7,300. Overall, the whole show, I would give it. My average is not going to average out, so don't go back and be like, this doesn't even make any sense. I'm bringing the average up, motherfuckers. To me at a 6,900, 7,000, and for me, I would recommend this show if you're for a Gundam. Not necessarily an anime, but if you like, yo, I'm into Gundams, I'll be like, yo, watch this shit. It's pretty. Yeah, it's pretty deep. It's pretty dope. To me, I feel like this gives you some of the Gundams that I have seen. It's not necessarily the best action compared to this, and I think this has some of the better action. So I would definitely recommend it if you want to watch a Gundam. So yeah, go ahead, Rob.
I mean, a lot of what I feel is what you guys have said already. I did think this was a good stretch of episodes, probably up there amongst my favorite stretch of the episodes we watched. But, that being said, everything you guys said, I do think they could have made. I was a little disappointed they pulled back on the Shino thing and the 2 turbines. I think that would have landed a little more emotionally, especially since, they've been kind of building them up as characters a little bit more long term. One of my issues with the show is that it was a little predictable when they were going to try to make those emotional moments land. Like, oh, we're going to tell you, like, oh, Akihiro is just telling you about his brother. Boom, brother shows up. Right. Oh, we're going to check in with Biscuit's sisters on Mars, and boom, that's the episode. Biscuit dies. It's just, it was just a little bit forecasted when emotional things were going to happen. I wish they had kind of spread that out throughout the episodes and just paced that a little better. I think my biggest complaint about the show is the pacing seems a little off. I think they could have just dropped in character moments throughout, and when people went down, I think I would have felt it a little bit more. That being said, I did like the show. I feel like maybe I'm being nitpicky. I thought the action was great. I did like the characters for the most part. I don't think Mikazuki's kind of a scary guy, and I think that it's honestly one of the more interesting questions that the show has is he a good guy? Like, he's a good guy as far as he's a protagonist, but there's a lot about him that is very dark. And I think that I hope the second season dives into that a little bit more.
Kind of like a Deadpool that's not funny.
Yeah, or even he could become like an Iron type person, which, by the way, I'm switching my vote back. I will go with the Dog Iron over this one because at least the Dog Iron got some wins. He at least hacked into some shit and did something useful. This Iron didn't even get one body the entire run. That's just,
one body.
That's the one thing he was supposed to do. So him and Galeo had a rough break, but I thought I liked. I think maybe one of my favorite characters on this. I like Orga a lot. I liked Biscuit.
Orga was my favorite character.
I think McGillis might be my favorite character. Not necessarily from I think he's a good person and I'd want to hang out with him. I just find him super interesting. And I'm always like, what is that dude up to? Because it's fucking like he's playing fucking 4D chess when everybody else is playing checkers right now. And here, to make another Star Wars reference, he reminds me a lot of a Star Wars villain, Admiral Thrawn from Rebels. He's great, just very diabolical, just like always one step ahead of what they're doing. And just is like, no, I'm going to let him go because I know where they're going and I'm already there. Like that's the sort of energy he puts off, and I really find that interesting. I would definitely be interested in watching the second season of this. I would recommend it, probably in a way that Brennan kind of set it up. In that, would it be the first one that I recommend? No, but like, oh, okay, you've seen a lot of the other stuff that it's the first one out of my holster. All right, what about Iron Blooded Orphans? Check it out; it's pretty decent. That being said, I'd give this stretch episodes a 6,800. Actually, I'll give it an even 7,000 this stretch, and I would give the show overall a 6,500.
All right, dope. All right, so I agree with a lot of what you guys are saying. I think I'd like to do. I don't know if we're ever really going to get to do like. I highly doubt we're ever going to do like a full on. Let's watch season 2 like we did season 1 with this. But if anybody's going to continue watching it, then I would do a standalone episode of just like let's review the entire season of season 2 in one episode. I'd be about that.
I had a suggestion that can be the fan pick, so we don't get no bullshit. The fan pick can be like, what season 2 should we watch?
Actually, I kind of like that. That'd be fun.
Yeah, that might be a bad idea.
That's not a bad idea at all. I think Keenan's going to watch it either way. I mean, I really love, like, I think my favorite thing about watching it again was actually the McGillis stuff that Rob was talking about. Like, is he a good guy or bad guy? Or is Mika a good guy or bad guy? Watching Orga deal with the leadership issues that he has with adults around him without bringing the doctor, working with the turbines and what that relationship's like, and Taiwa's, the world building, which I think it was really, you got to think about how complex this world is that they built, that we had to see. It's on multiple planets, as well as on top of multiple planets. There's also like the orbiting stations to Earth, and the asteroid belts. And they built all of it in a way that actually we can coherently understand and make sense of at the end of the season and say, oh, this is what Gallahorn is. This is what this Federation is doing. Here's what the Block is trading. Here's why the half metal rights matter to the Martians. You know what I'm saying? It's just like all this shit that they built, I thought was really impressive. And then I agree they did give the red flags whenever something emotional was going to come. But that didn't really soften the blow for me, even the second time through. You know what I'm saying? It's like I didn't expect like to feel emotional when Orga and Mika were talking about Biscuit on the train. Like I just didn't see that emotion coming to hit me. And
you cried?
What'd you say?
You cried?
No, I didn't cry. But I felt the cry feeling. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about? There's like a cry feeling. You don't necessarily cry, but you feel the cry feeling.
Sure.
Yeah, that. And so like I love the show, and I love it. I never watched it as a season. Like the whole thing to me is just one piece. Because there's only 2 seasons. And so for me, it's like I always imagine, like when I think back to the show, I imagine the entire thing encompassing. But for the last 5 episodes, which were my favorite 5 episodes of this season, I'm going to give that about 7,300. And then I'm going to give the entire show a flat 7, which is where I thought it was going to be from where I started it, for me at least. I was like, this is probably going to be 7,000, which is a solid rating. I I picked it because it was so different from the things that we've seen so far. We haven't watched a Gundam yet. We're an anime show who hadn't seen a Gundam, which is, arguably a good thing or a bad thing, however you want to look at it. But Gundam is a big part of anime, no matter people who don't know anime, they associate, when they think anime, they either think in Dragon Ball Z or probably a Gundam. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe Sailor Moon.
Or they're thinking hentai.
Yeah.
Or hentai. But Gundam's up there. Yeah, Gundam's up there. So I was like, we need to watch one of these Gundams. I've seen a few Gundams. This is my favorite. This one or Gundam 00. But Gundam 00 moved way too slow for me. So for me, we would have been picking that show apart trying to watch that show. But either way, that's my ratings. I'm really happy you guys.
You say you do recommend it?
Oh yeah, I do recommend this. Obviously, I recommend it to you guys. I do. Like, so people, like, I think exactly as Rob said. And I think I said something along those lines that Rob was bringing up in the first episode, is that this isn't the first anime. I'm like, yo, you want to see anime? Here's your first anime. I'm like, hell no. Like, this is way too violent. There's kids dying. There's possible pedophilia. Like, it's like, there's not
possible.
Well, he didn't fornicate with her. He just fawned over her. that's not technically pedophilia.
Less than Kill la Kill, to be honest with you. I mean,
Kill la Kill showed it. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. So it's like
less than Kill la Kill.
It maybe be somewhat implied pedophilia, but we were nowhere near R. Kelly. You know what I'm saying? Right. Like we were nowhere near that.
Or your,
he was Kells for sure, but
yeah. Or your homeboy from Detroit.
Wow.
Who?
Yeah.
The guy with the nunchucks.
Yeah. The dude that you remember the moment where Rob lost his shit when you and I were fucking dying. When you was talking about your homie that robbed the ice cream truck.
Yeah, came out to the ice cream truck with the nunchucks.
Yeah.
And you're like, he's in prison anyway for nunchuck-related crime?
Nah. He's like, no, statutory rape.
Statutory rape. Oh, okay. Well, then forget that. Let's move on.
You threw me off with Detroit because I didn't grow up in Detroit. I grew up
Flint.
Yeah, so I was just like, you said Detroit. I lived in Detroit too, so I was just like, Detroit.
That is still probably one of my favorite animation moments. Because Keenan was late and he was like, what? I was like, he's on his R. Kelly. He's like, oh!
Yeah, that was funny. But yeah, man, I'm happy that I think that it sounds to me like the general consensus is that you guys enjoyed the show. It was worth the watch.
That's a W for you, for sure.
You know what's funny? It was a pretty easy watch. It wasn't like I sat here and was like, oh. I watched. I was just like, cool. I never was bored really watching a show like that. Like I said, I think the pacing was a little. I agree with Rob and I with the pacing, but overall, I was just like, I still enjoyed the show overall. But what do you guys think out there in the animation world, man? Do y'all think this is
season 2? People better die, bro. People better die.
Well, maybe. I might kick off and do season 2. But yeah, what do y'all think, man? Would y'all recommend this anime if y'all watched it with us? What do you give it out of a rating out of a 9,000? Let us know in the comment section. For like Ice gave us a good suggestion for fan picks. We might just do season 2 a show that we should watch because yeah, I might give y'all one chance.
Just one.
Give y'all one more chance.
Yeah,
and after that, if y'all fuck this up right here. I'm gonna talk to you like a mother.
Hey man, they gave us our basement. Like we had to have Gangsta to be able to have Mob Psycho. You know what I'm saying? Like to be able to have
I love our fans.
If you don't,
100% gonna fuck this up.
You're right.
They are 100%. I love you guys, but Kuroko no Basket and Gangsta. I don't know. If you don't love me at Gangsta, you don't deserve me at Mob. Simple as that.
My thing is the fact that for even Kuroko, that was like a huge like pick.
Yeah.
Like it was like killing.
And we had some fire on the list too.
I don't think they fucked it up. I think they purposely wanted to see us fight over something. They wanted us to suffer through something, and they got what they wanted. They got what they wanted. Because the funny part is, if I had to watch one of those 2 shows over again, Kuroko no Basket or Gangsta, I would rather watch Gangsta.
Really?
Because I hated Kuroko no Basket. Like, I think Gangsta's a worse show.
You had a good time with it with the comparisons. I think that's where...
I'm saying if I had to watch it again, is my point. If you have to pick one or 2 to watch again...
I'm watching Gangsta because Gangsta is short.
Yeah.
It's short, and Kuroko no Basket is just
I made the same reference with Gangsta and Samurai Champloo, so yeah, you're right. Yeah. Just because it's shorter.
All right, man. So yeah, let us know in the comment section what y'all think. Make sure y'all follow us on YouTube, AnimeSHUN Podcast, Twitter. I mean, not Twitter yet, but Facebook, AnimeSHUN Podcast, Instagram, AnimeSHUN Podcast. Go ahead and drop yourself, guys. Brendan.
At Mr. Producer Face on the gram.
Ice.
This is a question that I had in the chat. I want to give it to everybody else that's listening and then people on YouTube as well. If there's an anime show that you would create, what would it be? And it has to be an anime that's already out, like not like, I would make a sports one. I would make like an anime that's already out and established. Which one can you see yourself creating? I said Mob Psycho. Keenan said Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Rob said, what was it?
I think I said Vinland.
Yeah, Vinland Saga because of the history and stuff. Brendan didn't give his pick.
Demon Slayer.
You can see yourself creating. And don't pick your favorite anime. Pick something that you can really
Demon
see.
Slayer is not my favorite anime.
No, I'm not saying that it is. I'm just saying, I'm just telling the people that's listening, like, pick an anime that you can see yourself making, not something that you really like. So, yeah.
Yeah. And you are so right, Rob. You're so right.
I know
Ice
you
Dot
do.
McGowan on everything. Ice Dot McGowan.
Rob.
RV Danger on Instagram.
And I'm Keenan Baker on everything. And thank y'all for tuning in to another episode of AnimeSHUN.
Peace.